and explain your role a little bit?
Sure. So my name is Tim Robson. I'm the Citrix sales engineer for upstate New York, what we call commercial territory. So my role is to help ensure that customers are getting the appropriate technical solution. My background prior to this, I spent 6 years with our professional services arm actually implementing all of our products. So I've got a pretty good handle on where everything fits in and how to make sure we get the best solution possible for any given customer.
Thanks, Tim. That's great background. Wanted to let everybody know, in the case you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to drop it in the chat window, which is on the lower left-hand side if you're on the desktop client, or I think on the web client as well. And we'll definitely make sure that Tim gets along and sees them. And hopefully at the end, if we have additional time, we can open up to the questions as well. Lastly, just so you know, this is a relatively new but large partnership that Microsoft and Citrix are working through, and there is some funding available in the case that you're interested in deploying any of these solutions. So at the completion, feel free to reach out to myself, Bob, and or Tim, and we can provide you with some information on that. Tim, are you ready to get going?
Sure am.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Hopefully everyone's able to see my screen. So what we want to talk about is some interesting things we're seeing within education. I was down at EDUCAUSE recently, and I talked to some of your peers as well down there about these. What we're looking at is kind of a shift in consumption by students. We're moving from the traditional model of everyone goes to a lab environment and works there to kind of a shift in students bringing their own devices a lot more. Particularly tablet devices, Chromebooks, things that are not part of the norm from a IT security perspective or from an IT enablement perspective. Because of that, we're creating some disruption in business, both in education as well as in other businesses, and we're trying to make sure that from an IT perspective, we're staying in step with that. One way or another, you're probably dealing with these issues already, and you're increasingly looking at more digital and global environments. We're also seeing some of the work habits and study habits change as well as we go through these, both from the faculty and staff side as well as the student side. They are bringing more devices. They have higher expectations about that mobile experience and the connections that are used there. I know when I was in college, laptops weren't really a thing.
Sorry about that, Tim. You're back on.
There we go. So, everyone's able to hear me correctly now?
Yep.
Okay. So, as we see this shift within the business place and within student environments, we're seeing a lot of faculty, students, and staff doing a lot more work within different environments. We're seeing a transformation that's affecting the entire campus. We think of just content delivery online with digital transformation, but we need to really think about it more as an ecosystem. The way personalized data and applications and content are all being delivered to students and how they're moving this. Digital transformation is kind of a buzzword, but what it really means is that it's a merger between culture and technology. We're changing not only the content, but also the roles, the entire delivery mechanisms for learning, and how people are engaging in that and with each other. So this is actually data from EDUCAUSE. Right now, we're seeing a lot more students having these different devices. We're seeing things where we have more smartphones in the classroom. We have more smartphones on students. Laptop ownership is pretty stable at this point. It's leveling off, as is tablet ownership. However, we are seeing increases in even wearable technology, and students want to be able to access things through these devices. So we're hearing a lot more folks saying, I need to provide access and deliver experience to students. It's not about just providing that access and saying that, here's the way it is, here's what you can consume it as. It's more about education is a product, and making sure that product provides the highest possible experience for students. Everything is moving digital, and as students bring more devices, smart devices, and other things, we need to be able to accommodate that in a good way. We also need mobile strategies. A number of schools have an increase in distance learners or people that are non-traditional students. We need to be able to understand what their needs are and meet them appropriately so that they aren't tethered to those lab environments or tethered to specific machines on campus when they may need to access them off campus or at different times of day than the labs are normally available. We ran a survey a few years ago with University Business. In 2014, we found that 94% of higher ed leaders agreed the students should have access to apps and data anywhere they go on whatever device they prefer or feel comfortable with. Only 55% of schools actually said they provided that service. December 2015, we ran to see what changed. Schools still knew about the need, went up from 94% to 95%. But 45% still didn't provide that anywhere access. April of this year, we reran the survey again to see what changed. We went up to 98% of higher education leaders, as you can see on the slide, and still said 55% said their institutions do not provide that level of access. So we're seeing the need to access data and apps growing each year, and Citrix and Microsoft are able to help position you to solve that need. So in our 2016 survey, we also revealed that concerning mobile apps, 53% of campuses appear to be building their own, while only 17% of CIOs and senior IT officers rate their mobile services as excellent. The impact of this on student expectation and consumer experience is driving most campuses to try to provide a better student experience. According to Gartner, we're seeing the consumerization of IT changing what's going on within higher education. By 2019, Gartner predicts that 10% of global higher education institutions will be using methods inspired by other industries, such as retail, to analyze and transform that student experience and make it more personalized. This is going to affect everything from recruitment through to post-graduation engagement, unified student-centric manner in order to provide those services in a targeted, differentiated, and integrated fashion. In the near term, Gartner predicts that by 2019, we'll have 15% of higher ed institutions globally designate an administrator to be responsible for designing and executing on that personalized student experience. So it might be a vice provost or a vice chancellor for student experience. Across the board, many higher education institutions are facing enrollment challenges due to changing demographics. Sometimes that's declining, but due to difficulties in appealing new students in an increasingly competitive marketplace. A key way for students to select their universities is to create a highly personalized experience that's attuned to their specific needs and allows them to receive that differentiated experience based on those needs. Citrix can help be part of that personalization strategy and provide secure access to applications and resources. All of this is leading to an increasing amount of opportunity, but it also is a complex opportunity. There's an exploding number of devices. It's affecting everything across how students are accessing this, from where they study and learn to how institutions need to think about that computing access. Students want the latest cool devices and the ability to use them interchangeably depending on what the situation or location they're in is. The applications are also more complex. Between legacy apps, custom-built apps, various Windows productivity apps, and cloud-based apps, everything needs to be managed and made available seamlessly where everything just works, because they're critical to productivity for those students and for your faculty and staff. In addition to that, we also need to make sure we meet security requirements, especially within a highly regulated industry like education. This needs to be done across a mobile and diverse portfolio of apps, data, and services. So schools and institutions need to adapt to changing and new regulations while also developing policies, procedures, and plans to maintain appropriate security and overall compliance. These constant changes in education, whether it's growth or decline, merger, and acquisitions, the reality is that there's all disruptions here. This can be planned or unplanned. And with the world overall running on a lot of older business processes, they've been architected 30 or 40 years ago, organizations are now spending a lot of time and energy trying to figure out how they're going to move away from some of those models and what models they want to keep and what ones make sense to be shifted away from. None of the old stuff is completely going to go away. The new technology needs to be integrated in. Right now it's being introduced as just bolt-ons in a lot of cases, which is creating even more complexity and cost in enterprise IT. So what we're seeing is a lot of campus leaders are feeling the impact in the form of missed opportunities, a lack of agility, and reduced budgets available for those new initiatives. It's a huge challenge, but it's also a huge opportunity for us to work with you to help unlock the opportunity and bridge that gap. So as we've engaged with different CIOs across the industry, the main things that are on their mind are what we have here on this slide. We're seeing a lot of interest in security, also meeting the mobility requirements and doing virtual deployments. Compliance is a very large element, as is cutting operational costs while maintaining that agility they need to meet student needs. From an institutional perspective, we're seeing the main drivers are trying to increase enrollments. How do we provide an experience that lets your college stand out from the others in your area and in your particular fields so that students want to attend your school instead of another school? How do we improve retention? How do we improve those outcomes? How do we make it so that a student, once they enroll, is getting the support they need and getting the education they need to actually be successful in their chosen career? Above all, this helps drive that competitive position for your university. At Citrix, we believe there must be a better way to power the digital campus. We believe that technology can be a great liberator, and we believe that the innovation must be linked to measurable and concrete gains in productivity. To that end, Citrix solutions are designed to cut through that complexity head-on. We want to make you free to say yes more often, to say yes to new innovations and bridge your past environment with the future with confidence. We want to make you more of a business enabler, a business provider, instead of someone who's viewed by your business counterparts as a manager of the past or a legacy world. We have always been trying to innovate ahead of the curve. This is true across the board. We are recognized in different fields. Within healthcare, we are a core piece of the infrastructure for the top 10 healthcare companies and the top 10 pharmaceuticals. We are core functionality for the top 10 largest banks. We are also integrated into the 10 highest ranked universities, all the big 10 universities, as well as the top 10 largest school districts. We have 25 years of experience in education. 10 of the top 10 U.S. News best global universities leverage Citrix today. We have 2,800 education customers at present. Here's a sampling of some of the larger name universities you may recognize on here. At Citrix, we believe that technology should be that liberator. That's why our mission is to power a world where students, schools, and institutions and things are securely connected and accessible, ensuring technology is simple and intuitive, that everything just works. We want to help our customers achieve extraordinary things within their business and drive student success. Today is no different. We built the world's best integrated technology services for secure delivery of apps and data, anytime, anywhere. For nearly 3 decades, we've worked to free organizations from the limits of physical infrastructure and remove obstacles between workforce and work. We've achieved broad-based leadership in our core business areas. Application and desktop virtualization continues to grow year over year with performance reliability and scalability top of mind. This is especially important as we look at how do we enable users to access that exact same experience for applications across many, many devices. We also help manage mobile devices, both for custom applications as needed for particular coursework, as well as for off-the-shelf common applications. We provide additional data sharing capabilities. We also enable you to use these services in a variety of different ways. You can do custom built on-premise with a flexible architecture, or you can leverage it through the cloud within Azure. We give you the ability to do this however you need from a hybrid cloud model. Most important element over the last 3 decades has been the ability for us to provide security within this, protection of IP and data. From the ground up, the offerings have been built with that in mind, and the foundation for developing products always has that in place. Because of this, we are uniquely positioned to provide the next generation of digital workspaces built on proven best-in-class solutions that are constantly being integrated to work together. We are reimagining the future of campuses. We're giving students, faculty, and staff a secure digital learning space, as well as workspaces that adapt to the environment and the work they need to get done. We want to provide an experience that's simple and intuitive, where the technology just fades into the background. The learning spaces in the future will energize institutions, students, faculty, and staff. We want to make them free to focus on teaching and learning that's more about accomplishment and advancement than administering and maintaining. We want to make them free to work outside the typical clock constraints and beyond classroom walls. We want to, from a security perspective, we want to hunt threats rather than wait to be hit. We want to make sure we can spin up new business models and accelerate that innovation. We want to be free to place workloads in clouds of all kinds in pursuit of the best possible performance and outcomes. The core technology behind this is our VDI and application virtualization, which provides the ability to centrally manage, provision, secure, and deliver applications and that user experience. We also have the application delivery network capabilities to ensure reliability of applications and data with a network that is app fluent, provides the best of security and performance needed, regardless of the connection. Software-defined wide area networks also help replace expensive fixed circuits and hardware, particularly between satellite campuses and primary campuses. From an enterprise mobility standpoint, we have comprehensive management of mobile apps and devices, as well as integration with Intune to provide a superior user experience between the two products. Our file sharing solution provides enterprise-grade file sharing and document workflows that have been built in the cloud and meets industry's toughest security compliance standards. This also integrates with Microsoft OneDrive to provide different ways to access that data and to provide that top-notch user experience. We also have the flexibility to choose the infrastructure deployment that suits your needs. You can do a private cloud, a public cloud, or a hybrid solution. Let's talk about how to reimagine your future of teaching, learning in your campuses. The extraordinary can take many forms depending on your business model, strategy, and industry. So what does extraordinary look like to most education universities? We want to transform the student and teacher experience by providing secure access to digital resources, apps, and data. We want to help redesign some of those learning spaces, make it possible to be more collaborative in there. This is something a lot of students are leaning towards and leaning into. We also want to secure student and research data. Any university that's doing advanced research wants to make sure that information stays internal and doesn't get out into the wild too early in the process. They want to make sure that their intellectual property is protected. We also want to help IT be more agile, reduce your costs by streamlining processes and freeing up resources to work on other projects and innovate. This is a tough job, but because of what we've been providing for 3 decades, we are uniquely positioned to help with this. One of the key things that helps drive this is a unified experience for your end users, the students. So we transform that mobile student experience with a single unified entry point for everything. At the end of this presentation, I will put into the chat window, we'll distribute as well, a link to the UConn Anywhere video. This is actually a video that walks students through how they access everything on any device for whatever purpose they need to do within their student experience. The consumerization and proliferation of devices is driving that student expectation that they want to be able to access this on any device. Across school districts and higher ed institutions, students are expecting access to cost-efficient laptops, digital formats, and the applications. Students are using it as a guiding factor in choosing colleges at this point. Many institutions are dependent on technology to provide blended learning and flipped classroom environments. And students expect that they can attend some lectures virtually from the dorms while participating in class discussions. The Campus App Store really powers all these use cases. We create a single location that they can access any application they need, no matter what device they choose. Any device at that moment becomes a campus-ready device. Any computer lab becomes a mobile virtual computer lab. No one's tied to certain devices for certain applications. I would wager most of the people on this call have specific labs that only have specific applications, particularly things for colleges of mathematics or colleges of engineering or for design colleges. There's going to be specific labs that only have so many machines. This allows you to enable those students to work where they want, when they want, how they want, instead of being tied into those labs. A campus app store powered by Citrix gives students and faculty the customization, personalization, and flexibility they need and require, while making applications secure and easier to manage for IT. So, from a data perspective, schools and institutions have tons of data. This may be personal information on students, social security number, credit card information, that sort of thing. It's institutional data, your finances, your endowments, research you're doing, intellectual property. It's important for you to be able to use that data to lead to better decision making. You also need to make sure that that is kept secure. Schools are also beginning to realize now that computer labs filled with rows and rows of computers don't really work for today's students as much as they used to. The average student owns 3 or more mobile devices, so they need anywhere, anytime access to those resources and a space to collaborate with others. A number of schools are planning to decrease or completely eliminate open use labs in the future, transforming them into comfortable spaces that offer creative learning areas with improved Wi-Fi, large screen monitors, and plenty of outlets where students can bring mobile devices and work together. The trend we're seeing is that many schools and institutions are turning them into maker spaces that provide a learning sandbox where students can work and collaborate with other students on projects across disciplines, using and experimenting with new technology, creating and emulating work environments to help students develop those soft skills needed in the workforce. Makerspaces are also trending in K through 12 by introducing the technology earlier in the student life cycle rather than later in high school. This is going to help develop those soft and technology skills and increase that demand for them into the higher education space. Running a school is like running a mini city. Administration has to worry not just about the teaching and learning that needs to happen continually 24/7, regardless of weather and natural disasters or location, but also the running of the school institution needs to be there continuously. The infrastructure, networking, SIS, learning management systems, physical security, general access to the property, the health center, the dining hall. Citrix can help institutions be more agile. We can help you manage complex multi-campus environments under central IT control and streamline processes. We want to enable the digital campus. We want to mobilize that teaching and learning experience by securely delivering apps and data to any device, anytime, anywhere. We want to provide access to those challenging apps. We want to provide access to their core application stack, the learning management system itself, the student information system, more difficult things like 3D or graphics apps, as well as the other core pieces for campus mobile apps as necessary for students. We help schools and institutions run more smoothly in an automated fashion, which makes for a better engagement for teaching and learning. We enable mobility so that students, faculty, and staff can learn and teach anywhere. We want to provide secure access across campuses and online programs. We also want to enable you, the IT folks, to be more agile and flexible, free up your staff and your resources to innovate more and attract more students. We also want to provide secure access across everything on and off-prem as well as online programs. Part of that is making sure that any data that's stored or in motion is secured and encrypted. We want to provide the consumer experience that students want and expect and help you differentiate your universities. By providing this access to data and apps, we enable you to mobilize your campus, have the ability to create new online programs and revenue streams, and differentiate and extend your reach to new students beyond classroom and campus. We want to help you embrace that mobile campus lifestyle. We want to enable you to have more remote campuses. We want to enable you to have students learning from a remote campus or from a remote location themselves at home, and enable them to do their classwork and be more successful. We also want to accelerate your workplace automation from your IT staffs. We want to make it easier to improve the productivity for your actual faculty and staff as well. We want to integrate with various apps to automate the workflows. We want to make sure that with automatic processes, there are fewer manual errors, things happen faster, and it's a better outcome for your customers, your students. We also want to make sure we focus on the security aspect of this. What happens when you suffer a security breach at your school? It will end up costing you money. You want to stay out of the paper. You want to stay compliant. You want to still have that user experience, but you can't afford to sacrifice security to do that. So we want to make sure that you're also flexible to change. This all sounds great, but what do you need to do to manage this? The easiest way to help manage all of this and balance these points is to embrace the cloud. Beyond digitizing work, the next step is simplifying that work. We simplified this through the launch of Citrix Cloud. Our philosophy on this is simple. In the future, you have one device, and that's going to be the cloud. With Citrix Cloud, your IT departments get the benefit of a single admin console to configure, monitor, and manage the workspaces. All apps and data, including third-party cloud apps, get wrapped into an added layer of security and optimized performance on any network. Citrix Cloud does allow us to accelerate time to value for you, reduce your costs, and increase your agility as an organization, while also addressing IT constraints and potential skills gaps. To that end, we have a unique partnership with Microsoft. We actually share technologies back and forth with them. We have done co-development of specific capabilities. Skype for Business is designed to run in a VDI environment, leveraging a plugin that's been co-designed by Citrix and Microsoft for Citrix environments. We also share a number of partners that deliver both Citrix and Microsoft within Azure. Our core Citrix Cloud management components all run within Azure as well. We've also developed, as you can see here, and I can send these links out later on as well, Citrix on Azure cost calculators, so that way we can help you identify what this will cost to deploy within Azure. I mentioned earlier also that we integrate with EMS and Intune with Zen Mobile and NetScaler. This makes it easier for you to access your mobile apps and data while simplifying administration and increased security. We're also integrating identity and networking between NetScaler and Azure to streamline that identity access management, simplify your deployment while enhancing security. Within Windows 10, we also have the ability to deliver Zen Desktop Windows 10 from Azure. That is currently the only way you can deploy Windows 10 within a cloud is through Azure and through Citrix. We're expanding our migration capabilities with enhancements on our side to complement some of our earlier announcements around Citrix and Microsoft delivering an optimized Skype for Business, as well as enabling that for other platforms, including iOS and Android. With Cloud Foundation, you can then power intelligent experiences. Intelligent and connected. We want to connect students, faculty, data, systems, and things. The most innovative organizations are looking to take the next step into the future to reimagine how and where work can be done and what things are involved in it. This is really the essence of the Citrix story. Citrix helps you say yes to reimagining your campus. Workspace of the future rolls up certain high-level business objectives within your organizations. From an agility perspective, we want to deal with that constant change that's happening. We want to help you with growth or decline of campuses with mergers and acquisitions. We want to help you deal with the reality of the disruptions that are happening one way or another. We also want to improve your constituent experience. A lot of our customers look at how they can improve those interactions with students, faculty, and staff. Whether it's educator, student, or service provider and their customers, the focus remains on improved customer service, improve satisfaction, and not only win new customers, but also retain the existing ones. From a productivity standpoint, increasing student and faculty engagement and amount of productivity in a student and faculty can achieve better through the use of technology. Connecting your IT, real estate, and academic office to build a new, flexible, collaborative learning space that improves collaboration, creativity, and innovation. We want to help provide you the ability to tap global talent pools and enable teachers, faculty, and staff with work experience that keeps them for the long term. Workspace of the Future benefits unleashes the potential of IT in all kinds of ways. Security and compliance. We want to make sure we do secure your student data, your digital assets, your research, and your intellectual property. And from a cost and efficiency standpoint, we want to make IT more flexible to deal with this change while still being cost effective. We want to ensure that your learning space, redesign, and other changes don't negatively impact the bottom line of the university. We also enable centralized management with hybrid cloud capabilities. A lot of institutions still have investments in the data center, but they want to be able to move and transition into the cloud, particularly as more applications are cloud-enabled and cloud-focused anyway. So we want to enable you to do this as a smooth motion instead of having to do a straight cutover between two different sides. Putting everything together, Citrix is trying to help create and scale new business models, services, and secure ways to teach and learn. We want to free students and faculty to be more productive with a greater sense of reward, engaging your constituents digitally and more intelligently, while also ensuring the security of your organization's most important data and assets and improving the efficiency of IT. Citrix, we want to make the extraordinary possible. This is a pivotal time for a lot of different businesses, and the technology can be a key enabler. All of you are in IT, so you have the opportunity to lead this charge. Where can the extraordinary make a difference for you? How can Citrix help you say yes to reimagining the future of teaching and learning?